Hello, I am Dr. Cinema, and welcome back to our movie Face Off science fiction tournament. Now, for those of you that don't know, this round will be our eighth round in the tournament in this first tier of the 48 contestants. Now, I know this first tier has been going on for a long time already. I'm trying to do the best I could while going to college as well. And for those of you that can't guess, we are going to be looking at two movies that are very similar, and you can understand the unusual darkness of this video now. Our first contestant is the 1998 film Dark City, and the 1999 film that's very similar, The Matrix. Now remember, determining factors for this tournament will be themes and how they relate to science fiction, as well as story and how the audience and critics receive both of these films. Without further introduction, let's get right down to it. Now, the story of Dark City, released in 1998, follows a man who is believed to be a murderer and being pursued by a group of people known as the Strangers. It is later revealed that the Strangers are an extraterrestrial parasite race that has collected the people of this city into a habitat located in outer space, where they're trying to discover what makes a person an individual in order to try to have their species survive. The Matrix is the story of a man who we named Neo that realizes that all of humanity has been enslaved to machines, and they are put to sleep in what is known as the Matrix, where the machines feed off the energy that the human bodies give out. And so Neo, once realizing this illusion, joins the resistance and fights back against the machines. Now, both of these stories are very similar, dealing with philosophy, personal identity. However, here's the major difference between both of these films. Dark City has subtle symbolism, good character development, philosophical conversations that mean something. And critics give it high praise and has since received a cult following. However, most audiences were not so praising of the film for odd reasons that even I do not understand. Now, The Matrix, which came out 1 year later, has been criticized by people, especially in recent years, of copying the style, themes, and idea of that originated from Dark City. Now, while the idea of the Matrix movie is very different, it is different in the sense of how exactly human race has been enslaved and why they are enslaved. It's still very, very similar. However, instead of subtle symbolism, we have outright symbolism, as well as like overlong, repeated philosophical conversations that basically all mean the same thing, as well as gunplay and tight leather. However, The Matrix has been credited for making impact on action movies, which giving them a sense of style and the purpose, as opposed to just being action for action's sake. However, Dark City has also shown that movies can have depth, that it can be intriguing, interesting, as well as having some action in there. Now, the big difference between these two is that while The Matrix had probably heavier impact, it was mainly on action films. And while Dark City had a much smaller impact, it was more on films that are closely related to the science fiction genre. And obviously, so how exactly does one choose which one is the better film based on impact alone? Do you go with the one that has the larger impact but is not related to what qualifies for a winner in this round? Or do you give the win to the one that had a much, much smaller impact, but the impact is more closely related to the movies that the movie is trying to represent? Obviously, you're going to go with one that's a much smaller impact, but it's more closely related. However, then you remember that The Matrix deals with machines and technology and such. And while The Dark City deals with aliens when he talks about philosophy and such. However, again, I'm going to have to go with Dark City on this, as Dark City is now the winner of this round. And this is Dr. Cinema. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me give you a hint for our next round. 2 films. One from the 90s starring Bruce Willis, and another movie that was released earlier this year. Same director, and it's the same director that helped gave Natalie Portman her big acting debut. This is Dr. Cinema. I can't wait to see you next time.